What's good, guys? It's actually a little bit late right now we're starting the vlog, and that's because unfortunately Japan's getting hit by a couple more typhoons and it's been raining all day. It finally stopped right now, so I've got a bit of time now to be able to do some work on the S15. Also because it's a public holiday with the whole new emperor coming in and all that kind of stuff, and Trump's in town and all these other world leaders. All the highways were like closed down for me to get to the other side, so I could get to Yoshio factory today, which would have been ideal because I could have worked on the S15 in the workshop. But let's go through a list of things I want to get done and hopefully get them done before it gets too dark, because it's almost 5 p.m. and it's kind of rolling into winter here, so it's gonna get dark real quick. So first thing on my agenda is wiper blade changing. Now I know this is kind of something boring to film, but there's a lot of people on my channel that are really young, that are just getting into cars and don't know about this simple stuff. So quick how-to, guys, is obviously here's your wiper blade, and if you have a look here, we'll let the camera focus on that for a second, you'll see that there we go. You'll see that there's this little kind of latch here, and you want to slide and pull that out. Now, generally you don't want to do it when it's on the windshield, because once you pull that rubber out, it's going to be metal hitting the windshield. So just be very careful with that. Keep it up in the air, 2 hands on there, and pull that off. Once you pull that off, you pretty much slide the new one in, and just make sure you slide it in every single groove here. It can be a bit hard sometimes to line it all up, but once you get it lined up, it'll go in there. Another good idea as well is before you go in to buy wiper blades, just measure everything. There's normally 2 types. There's 6mm or 8mm. Get the ones that suit your car, and then the length. My Silvia and Skyline are both 525, so just get that same length, slide them in. If you do get ones that are a bit too long, just snip the ends off. It's not a big deal. All right, so I'm going to change that off, and then we're going to get to something in the rear taillights that I want to show you. So next on the agenda is these. Now these, if anyone knows what they are, they're LED light resistors. Now, these Yoshio factory tail lights, Okachan doesn't make them anymore, and he wants to get some more, but the factory that used to make them for him no longer exists. So we found these as old stock upstairs at the workshop. Now the only problem was they were missing the LED resistors that were on them. We did find one. However, it's a bit damaged. Let me show you what they look like. I've got it down here somewhere. Here we go. This thing, right? This is it. This little resistor box, right? And it's essentially just a big resistor, but as you can see, it's pretty damaged there. The wire's pretty shot. So instead of using that, I jumped on Amazon after a bit of research and found that I can just use these little resistors here. They're essentially just a big like resistor that just adds a whole bunch of ohms. And the whole reason why you need to do this, let me show you for any of you guys that don't know, is when I put my indicators on, they blink really fast. Really fast. See? I hate that. I hate that so much. To me personally, I think it makes your car look cheap. Although I know like Aoba-Ku and like a lot of street drifters like that style, and that's kind of a cool thing. But to me, and where I'm from, I think that's like dasai, which in Japanese means like not cool in the slightest at all. So we're going to fix that. The way that we're going to fix that is we're going to cut these little plugs off, which are designed for the other one, and we're going to put on these little terminals and then put this guy on there. Before then though, I am going to test it by obviously just sticking the wires in there to make sure it works. So let's do that really quickly and we'll go from there. You can pick these up off Amazon for literally like $5, $10 shipped. They're essentially just an LED resistor. If you search it, you can find it, and you can pretty much use these on anything. It just needs to add a little bit of extra load so that the little clicking thingy-bob in the dash sees that these are normal halogen light bulbs and not LEDs that use nowhere near the same amount of resistance as what a normal halogen light bulb would. And that's why it blinks fast. It's like a feature that tells you, hey, one of your bulbs is blown kind of thing, but they're actually not. And they're LEDs. They just use there's no ohms that essentially go through there, or resistance that it thinks there's no bulbs there. So let's get on and use this. Sorry about the wind as well, guys. I haven't got my dead cat on the camera yet. All right, let's try and sit you guys in a place where it's not super weird. All right, cool. I'll squat down here. So take one of these out of the bag, and I'm literally just gonna stick the ends of the wires in the plug just to make sure it actually does what I'm hoping it does. And we're gonna obviously throw these Scotch connector things in the bin because they are junk and no one should ever use those ever. Had nothing but issues with them, and the previous owner of this car was like addicted to them. So I'll get those ends out. I'm just going to stick the wires in. Hope that they make enough contact. And now what I'm going to do is place that there, hope that they don't come out. And I'll turn the indicators on and see what happens. Oh, guys, check it out. It works. It works. Look. Normal speed. And I bet you the moment I take that out, fast. Put it back in. Slow. Ah, I'm so happy about that. My gamble worked. My little bit of research and gamble worked. Hell yeah. All right, let's turn that off. And now let's actually go through the process of cutting these off, putting them on with nice little pins and stuff like that. And then they'll essentially just tuck in here with all the wiring in there. So I just wired them in. I got them all zip tied there, as well as over here. Well, you can't kind of see it because it's nice and tidy in there. But let's make sure both do what they're supposed to now. Oh yeah, I can already tell that they're doing it, obviously. Nice and slow. Exactly like they should be. So good. Look, can you guys hear that? Hear the Aoba-Ku guys in the distance. It's cool. There you go. All good. Working really well. What else is that other noise? Someone's playing like some loud music or something. Far out. Japan's interesting. You hear all these weird noises from like trucks and, you know, people selling sweet potatoes and fried chicken and stuff. It's weird. Well, it's not really fried chicken, it's barbecue chicken, yakitori. It's weird. They just drive around the streets like ice cream vans, but you can get like chicken on a stick and beef on a stick and roasted sweet potatoes. It's kind of nice, but it's also like just odd coming from Australia to have things like that driving around your street. So that's two things that I needed to do that were driving me insane. The next thing is this issue. So I did a bit of research on this. When I push the central locking, this thing in here keeps beeping like crazy. So the module is actually in there. Now, supposedly, the reason why that happened is when we changed the door cards, I unplugged that. That's a big no-no, because that resets the unit. Now, what I need to do is take the door card off again, get in there, unplug it, and plug it back in, and then within 10 seconds, push the button, and it should pair with it. Apparently, the Series 2 Silvias that don't have the 2-button keys, that have the single button key like this, you can't like put it into programming mode by turning the ignition on and off 5 or 6 times and all that kind of jazz that you used to do with the S14s. So this one, you've just got to unplug it and plug it in, or take it to the Nissan dealer. So if I can't get it to work today, I'll take it to the Nissan dealer, and it's gonna probably cost me $200. Or I haven't asked Oko-chan yet if he knows another way to do it. And if Oko-chan knows how to do it, we'll do that, obviously. What is that? Bird crap on my car? No, thank you. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna... Actually, something smells really good. Maybe May's making dinner, but I'm gonna take the door card off and get a crack at that. But before we do anything else, it's freezing, so I need to get a hoodie on. But we are so close to 100K, it's insane. So if you guys want to take a moment to just share the channel on all your social media, you know, Insta stories and things like that. If you tag me in your Insta stories with like a screenshot of the channel to get the word out there and tell people to sub, I will re-share that, which will kind of give you a shout out on my Instagram. So yeah, please do that. Get as many people involved as you can. We are so close. We can hit 100K by the end of this week if you guys all jump in and help us out. I've always said this, but I'm here because of you guys, and this channel is ours. We're all on this journey together and all that. So I don't really know what else to say, but thank you, and let's keep doing it. So it's a lot later now. I ended up eating dinner with May, and I'm out here trying to work on this keyless entry, and I can't get it to do anything, man. Like, I've unplugged that, replugged it in, done everything that I've read online, and it still does the same thing when you push the button. And it's not like it's a little beep, it's a loud beep. So I'm not going to push that too much because it's like 7 PM and it's actually really loud when this door card's off. So I'm going to put the door card back on there and maybe wait till I go see Oko-chan at Yashio Factory, because I think he may know how to actually program it so it works with the fob. because everything I read online is just, there's so many different people saying different things, and no one's actually confirmed whether or not it works, and it's a disaster. So unless any of you guys actually have dealt with this before and know how to program a fob on an S15 Series 2 Kolke, please let me know, and yeah, I'll give it a crack. But yeah, I'm at my wit's end here. I'm pretty close to just probably paying Nissan to do it. But while I'm here and got the door cut off, I am going to look at why the locking mechanism doesn't work on this side. Pretty much the little actuator doesn't work, so I'll have a quick look at that, and then what I'm going to do is add the steering wheel extension onto the hub and the quick release here. Where is it? I've got it here somewhere. Oh, it's in my hoodie. Here it is. Huzzah. We're going to add that there so that the steering wheel's a lot closer to me. But for now, I'm going to have a quick look at that actuator, and then after that we'll go for a sick drive, because I don't think I've done like a proper drive where I've mic'd up the engine bay so that you guys can actually hear how good this thing sounds. So we'll do that and get some gas and stuff like that and have a bit of fun. So I'm just finishing off tightening now the spacer that I've put on. One thing I love about these little KYB spacers that you get from UpGarage is they come with 2 lots of hardware if you want to use like an 8mm wrench to do it, or you can use the traditional Allen key that everyone seems to use. But these little 8mm are amazing, and they normally clear your hub and everything, so you can use both. I always go for the 8mm where I can, because you can just get a much tighter fit and you never strip it out. These Allen key ones, you forever end up stripping them out. They end up getting stuck in there and a huge pain in the butt. And like I said, even with the 8mm, everything still clears. Hang on, there we go, locked in. See, plenty of space there. They clear fine. And as you can see, also got them on the Nardi side here, and it'll never come loose now, literally. Never come loose. Just quickly guys, I realized I made a mistake. The brand's actually HKB, not KYB. So HKB Sports is a steering spacer, and this one was actually a 25mm spacer. All right lads, so you may not be able to see me on the screen. I'm actually using my G7X for the inside camera, which is kind of over the shoulder, mounted on the back of the chair. It's a new mount that I found online on Amazon, and I'm hoping it looks pretty cool. So we're pretty much heading to go get some gas, fill up the car, and then we're going to jump on the highway and have a little bit of fun. Nothing too crazy though, just a little bit of fun. We've got to test a few things out, like my seating position now. I've moved the seat further back. I want to make sure that I can still shift and reach all the gears really comfortably with my arm. Plus, the steering wheel's like in a really good position where I have full movability, if you know what I mean. Like right now, this is probably too close to me, so we may need to go to a smaller spacer. We'll see though. Drink, my precious. Oh, she's done. All right then. Time for some rips. How weird are like gas nozzles in Japan? They kind of look like weird anime guns. Anyways, what did it cost us today? 70 bucks to fill her up. See, gas really isn't like super cheap in Japan. Guys, I remember reading somewhere where someone thought that gas was like high octane gas was super cheap in Japan. It really isn't. It's no different than anywhere else. So we're gonna do our first pull now. Because my diff ratio is a little bit higher than the standard one, my cluster reads the speed limit out a lot. So even though it may be saying I'm breaking the speed limit, it's actually the car's going a lot slower. Alright, let's do a 30. Yeah, full wheel spin. Sketchy. Oh, okay, cool. There's like all these sections of dry highway and damp highway. Third gear is just all wheel spin. Fourth gear, kind of hit and miss. but at least you guys are able to hear gate. You're able to hear the bob, well, not the bob, but the turbo surge and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to listening to this too, because I haven't mic'd this engine bay up yet, and I don't know how it's going to sound. Okay, so we're pulled over on the side of the road, and I wanted to take this opportunity to really talk to you guys about my honest feelings on the S15, like a review per se, and compare it against like the 33.4 Skyline, and just talk about a few things that I love, like pros and cons and stuff like that, right? So first of all, quick swig of coffee. This is probably going to be a long clip. Anyways, so first of all, I want to talk about the engine. A lot of you guys have been asking for numbers, like real numbers on power figures, and we are going to be taking it to a dyno. The reason why I say 400 horsepower is Oka-chan's told me that with this setup and the tune that he's done, and according to his butt dyno and previous cars that he's done exactly the same like this with the same all bolt-ons and everything, the cars have made 400 plus horsepower. He's saying it also feels like that, but dyno wise, and I do trust him, but obviously I want real numbers as well, so I'm going to take this thing to the dyno and we're going to get that piece of paper and show you guys what power this thing makes. If it's making a little bit less, I don't really care, because the thing feels insane. Anyways, all of that aside, so numbers will be coming soon, real numbers. I want to talk a little bit about like mid-range torque and like response on this. So it is a little bit boggy sometimes down low, but the moment it kind of gets some air in there, it's just all there. So I definitely do have to dance on the pedal a little bit, and I do know that that is kind of a bit of an SR thing. With RBs, I feel like they kind of wake up a tiny bit quicker, but they don't give you any torque. They don't give you any mid-range power. As in this, the moment it kind of wakes up, that little bit slower bit of lag, it's then like, bah, like insane. And the moment boost kicks on with this, it's just like wheel spin galore. Third gear, fourth gear, like it's kind of insane. Depending on how aggressive you are with the throttle, if you don't ease into it, you'll wheel spin this thing. So the power on this is insane, and when this thing kicks on with boost, it's pretty scary. So I absolutely love that. But like comparing it against my Skyline in general, Skyline's definitely laggier. Skyline has no torque at all until like 4,500 RPM. If you're lucky, 5,000 is really when it starts to wake up. The SR though, it's kind of got mid-range there all the way from 2,500 up, 2,000 even up. It's really good and responsive in that kind of area, and I can really enjoy the car without even having to hit 5,000 RPM. I can like just be on like a mountain road, having a good time in a low gear, and not even really see full boost. It's kind of scary to me how responsive this is in the mid-range and low end. As in, obviously, in the high end though, this is where it gets interesting. With my SR and the S15, it kind of feels like boost comes in and you get that initial like, you know, torque feeling, everything, and then it hits a peak and stays there. And then it's like all of a sudden your car's NA, and it's like just the power's there, and it's just stays the same on this level kind of power band field. But with the RB, it's just always increasing. All right, and that's where I think like RBs kind of shine, because they're always increasing in the top end. They don't really hit somewhere and then just level out. They're just always climbing. As in this, it feels like it kind of climbs and levels out. Now, obviously, you can play around with different turbos, different tunes and things like that, and get your power band acting differently. But from some other people that I've spoken to that have a lot of experience with building SRs and stuff like that, especially with like the new G20 turbos, they've said that their SRs feel very similar and about the same. So all of that aside, like kind of getting away from the engine, like I feel like this is a pretty reliable setup. Top mount turbos and stuff like that, once we replaced all those old lines from it sitting for so long, we're pretty much minty fresh. Moving aside, I want to talk a little bit about like handling. Suspension is just insane. Like everything about this car is just so agile and responsive to my input in the steering wheel, and like how this thing handles, it's crazy. The Skyline kind of, it feels like it takes a lot more of an input for it to do something. This, it's like, man, you blow on the steering wheel and it's gonna do something. So that's really nice. It means I can be a lot more aggressive on my entries and stuff like that, a lot easier, and a lot less arm work. Don't have to go to the gym as hard, I guess. But yeah, otherwise I think that kind of sums it up. Like they're the main two things, like, and just like the presence of the car, like how much smaller this thing feels around you compared to the Skyline it's insane. Like it feels like it's a part of you. The Skyline, it kind of feels like you're along for the ride in a boat. And like being in this S chassis and getting this and driving it and drifting it really has helped me understand how much of a boat R chassis do feel like. Because the S chassis really do feel like they're a part of your body and you're attached to it. As in this R chassis are so big and boaty, like you kind of feel like you're along for the ride inside that thing, you know? And yeah, I definitely understand that description of calling R chassis boats because of that. And in all honesty, 34s are also boats compared to this thing. It's insane, actually. It's scary for me because I love my 34 chassis. I love my 33. It's kind of scary for me because I love my R chassis, but this thing just handles on an entirely different level, but two different driving styles. So that's where it's my saving grace. R chassis are an entirely different ball of fun to drive compared to an S chassis. Competition wise, don't get me wrong, I'm probably gonna go the S chassis route, but fun wise, practice wise and stuff like that, R chassis are where it's at, like just having fun, enjoying it. You can also get an R chassis feeling really, really mint. Like my R33 chassis feels and handles really good like this in a way, but not entirely, if that makes sense. Like if you guys remember when Adam drove my R chassis last, and he literally got out of the car and was like, this thing drives better than my R chassis, and it kind of is set up and feels like an S chassis, and I don't know why. I wish my R chassis felt that way. His words, not mine. And that's mainly just because Oka-chan really helped me dial that thing in, suspension settings, different like custom soft spring rates and stuff like that. But angle kit wise, this definitely feels way better. R chassis with a double wishbone suspension in the front are just weird. Anyways, I'm kind of ranting on and just remembering things that I want to talk about now. So I think like the more and more I kind of drive this car, the more and more I can give like an honest opinion on it. And if you're still watching this video, smash that like button and tell me in the comment section, because I'd love to know that you're all still here. I know there's a lot of you guys that still watch these videos, and today the weather super affected my plans. And I was going to be at Yasuo factory doing some really cool stuff today, but unfortunately the weather had other plans, and the public holiday today with all the highways being closed, can't really do much. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the cool turbo sounds. I hope you enjoyed me kind of like giving you my honest feedback on this chassis and what I think of it between my R chassis and this. And I'm really excited for the future. There's some really cool content coming moving into next month. Keep an eye out for that. And then December, it's just going to keep going, and it's going to be insane. We're nearly at 100K, so if you really could, please start sharing the channel with all your friends. Let's get to 100K by the end of this week. It'll mean the world to me. I want to get my plaque by the end of this month if we can. I'm going to do an epic special video. I got something special planned for 100K, and I don't really know what else to say, but I love you guys. Thank you so much. I would not be here if it wasn't for you. And it's insane when I think back. Like there were some days, man, when I was literally thinking about quitting YouTube, and I thought that there was no point in pursuing it. And I just kept encouraging myself to do it. And here we are. We're at 100K, and I never thought this would happen so quickly either. Like, I've only been doing daily content for like 6 months, and look where we are. It's crazy. So thanks heaps, guys. Getting a bit emotional here, but I love you all. Catch you in the next one. Peace out. Jamata.